This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. We are joined by an old friend of ours that we catch up with, I guess, around once a year, Mr. Fred Loimer, who's joining us all the way from Austria today. How are you, Fred?
Fine, thank you. We have a beautiful weather here in Langenlois, and at the moment everything looks fine in the vineyards. It's quiet, still quiet, but the work is proceeding on, and we are on time, which is always important. And yeah, looks good, and very nice vintage in the cellar. So
Yes.
I'm
The
happy.
2022. Tell us a little bit about how that is faring in the cellar right now and how the end of the harvest came about for you.
Um, Harvest was good, especially the end of the harvest. The beginning was a little bit difficult with rains, which
Yes.
we had all over the year. Really an exception in Europe. Lots of rain from the start of vegetation up to the beginning of harvest, which brought us troubles, of course, with mildew. Grüner Veltliner is very sensitive to that, and
Yes.
so we lost around 20% or something like that. Rest of the varieties were really good, and Riesling, for example, was absolutely great. So it was a fantastic year for Riesling. The wines get finished now. A lot of the wines still on the full lees without sulfur, and we start racking and blending a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and did already the first bottling of our basics.
Oh, superb. I saw in the news that your Brut Nature Blanc de Blanc, the 2013, just won Best Sparkling at Gault Millau. That must have been quite a thrill for you.
Yeah, that's really great because this is that's a hard project, the sparkling,
Yeah,
which we did already 20 years ago
yeah.
in 1991, but always on a very small base. And in 11 we decided to do more because Langenlois turns out in Austria to be one of the best spots
Right.
for sect. That is very much connected to our climate here, cool climate. So we get a really good fruit for the second fermentation. So for sparkling, where you need ripeness without too much sugar. And yeah, and it was a great success to have the Blanc de Blanc Brut Nature, which was our first Grosse Reserve, on top of the list at Gault Millau last year.
Yeah, it's pretty
And the
special.
16 was a year before top of the list of an Austrian national tasting. So
All
we're
right.
quite successful with these sparklings, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Which makes,
obviously doing something right with the sparklings, but you're right, it is such an investment to get into a sparkling program like that.
yeah, it's a little crazy, of course. Yeah. In the meantime, there are a lot of bottles everywhere.
Yeah.
They need space. So we already filled the old facility of my parents, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, but it's fascinating because you have something which get better and better over time, and then you open a 13 and you have the freshness of
Wow,
13 still in the glass, which is great.
super. Now, what are we expecting to see in the market in Ontario over the coming months?
Uh, yeah, of course, the regularies like our score wine, our main wine, Kamptal DSE, Grüner
Yes.
Veltliner, a dry, bone dry Grüner Veltliner, medium bodied, and uh, and then a single vineyard,
The
which
Riesling?
is always the top of the region.
Yes.
Uh, and in that case, it's Riesling from a site called Seeberg. So it's the Langenlois Seeberg Erste Lage, so Premier Cru, 19. And something which is quite new, we started in 20. This is very much related to our evolution in biodynamic farming, that we work more and more on a very natural base in the cellar. In the meantime, we do only some bentonite finings, and for the classics filtration. That's it. And with a new wine, we started to make an easygoing natural wine, if you like that, to say that. So that's a blend of almost all varieties we have, and also a blend of vintages. So we work with that kind of Solera system, keep something what we bottled the year before, blend it to the next vintage. So it's now a combination of, or a blend of 5 vintages in the meantime, which gives the wine stability and complexity without too much alcohol. So it's a very light wine with 11.5.
All right.
And it's called Glücklich. It's word creation with the glue, so easy
Yes, I get
drinking,
it. Yes.
and the Austrian or German Glücklich, so happy. So
I
yeah.
forget, what are all of the varieties that you work with for that particular wine?
They're the Manian, so Grüner Veltliner and Riesling. Then there's the Burgundy grapes, which we need for sparkling. This is Chardonnay, Pinot Blanc, Pinot Gris, and then some really Austrians, Zierpfandler and Rotgipfler. So it's
Oh,
also
yes.
wine which is coming from our second place, Gumpolskirchen, south of Vienna.
I see, but is there any Muscateller in that blend? Because for me, Muscateller is often found in those old field blends, but it's like Rachmaninoff. A little goes a long way for me.
Yeah, Jamie, you are tasting very carefully, and you detect it. There is Muscatella and also Tramina.
Oh, yes,
In
yeah.
in the last blending, there's very little Muscatella. It comes more from the previous blend.
Right. Oh,
Um,
because of the Solera. I see. Yeah.
yeah. And now there is a little bit more Tramina in, which also lifts your aromas and makes the wine maybe then a little bit more serious on the palate. Yeah. And yeah, that's a little Sauvignon Blanc, and this is more or less the varieties we work with in the vineyards. Yeah,
Now, is that a field blend or is that done in the cellar?
there is field blend too. So there are 2 old vineyards involved, which are mixed planted,
Yeah.
and there's Welsh Riesling in. So I forgot that.
All right. Okay.
So in old vineyards, you find in our region always this Welsh Riesling wines, which had a better history. So it was a very important variety here, and I like it more and more. And I think we will plant Welsh Riesling because it's a variety which brings acidity. Might be an important thing with climate warming, which is also a dramatic situation here in the meantime.
Superb. Well, it's always nice to catch up with you, Fred. Thank you very much for joining us once again at Good Food Revolution. Are we going to be seeing you in Ontario anytime soon?
I would love to. So,
Excellent. Well,
no plans so far.
okay.
Maybe I have to talk to Bernard. But yeah, I would like to come back to Toronto.
Excellent. I'll look forward to it. Take care for now. Fred, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Jamie. Thank you. Goodbye.